We are back with the Guy Dawson Show at WCOBM.com, the World Center of Broadcast Media. And I want to invite you all to watch the PR Connections radio show. Kwan, you show up there every once in a while, don't you?
Every once in a while, that's exactly the word.
I know. Kwan is a guest host as well on that show, and that airs every Wednesday. Wow, we've been switching our time, so now I'm just as confused as you are.
Oh my gosh.
It's 11 o'clock now, isn't it? Yeah, right.
From 1 shifted to 11 o'clock.
Yes, we used to air at 1 o'clock on KLAV 1230 AM, and we've recently shifted over to Vegas All-Net Radio, and we air at 11 a.m. every Wednesday. We have cutting-edge concepts in public relations, marketing, business networking, and personal development, and we get a Chinese lesson from Kwan every week.
你好吗 today?
你好吗 every week I'm saying the same thing on the Guy Dawson Show. You guys are going to think I only... They're going to start thinking I only know how to say how are you in Chinese.
How about the numbers? 88. 88.
Sounds like you're a native Chinese already. Yes.
When you tune in to the PR Connections radio show, you hear things like that. Leo, you've been on. Did you have fun?
Yeah, actually, it was again very entertaining. I appreciate the opportunity to put out my information and some networking information on all types of media.
Yeah, so come on anytime you get a chance on a Wednesday at 11 a.m. Tune in to us at VegasAllNetRadio.com. We do similar things as we do on TV, except you can't see us. You have to use your imagination to know what we're doing.
Oh, I have a great imagination, yeah.
And Leo, you are a techie to the highest degree. Will you share your background with us a little bit?
Well, I am quite the nerd. I went to MIT when I was 16. I majored in physics, and I worked on the ARPANET well before it became the internet that you know today. And one of my customers there did on-site computer service. And so I learned how to do on-site computers, and I worked at a bunch of different types of companies that needed that type of service, and learned all kinds of things about computers. And as I got more into it, computers evolved over the course of time. So we're not running Windows 3.1 anymore. Windows 10 is due to come out at the end of July.
What do you think about that? What do you think it's going to be like?
Well, it seems to be a somewhat better cross between 7 and 8 in that they put the start button back in, which most people are very grateful for. With Windows 8, if you're not satisfied with the Metro screen, you can always go to classicshell.net and download something that makes it look like Windows 7. But in Windows 10, they've put that back in, which I think is going to be much easier for many people. And if you reserve your copy now, you'll be able to get a license at the end of July and have it downloaded and install. But that's not really for novices.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to write a story about Leo for the Las Vegas Informer, and if you go to the LasVegasInformer.com and look his name up, you will see the story that I wrote. It was really interesting when you were talking about how you were actually on the cutting edge of the development of the internet, and you never thought that it would grow.
Well, we didn't know. We didn't know. I mean, back then, you have to realize that in 1989, things were sent by telephone in something called Usenet. And at the time, if you wanted to send a large file, like a video file, it might have been like, say, 1.5 megabytes at that time. Nowadays, it might be 150 megabytes. But back then, at 1.5 megabytes, you had to cut it up into 15 pieces, 100 kilobytes in size a piece, because that was the maximum size for transmission. And then you would have to reassemble them, typically with a program, in order to actually view the video.
Wow. And so what was it like being a computer guy back then? I mean, you've been excited
for
a long time.
You've had like 386 and 486 computers, were somewhat current back then. And then over the course of time, they developed, much faster and more powerful machines. I remember back in the early 1980s, we used to use workstations. I remember buying a 1 gigabyte SCSI hard drive in an enclosure with a 150 megabyte tape cartridge, and it was an absolute bargain at about $3,750 back then.
Thank God things have gotten cheaper.
Yeah, I mean that's the way things have gone in the computer industry is that computing power per dollar has climbed like exponentially, in terms of what you're getting. I mean nowadays, I don't really find too many hard drives much less than a terabyte, which is 1,000 gigabytes. And they now, I see routinely 6 terabyte drives are for sale in stores for a couple of $100.
I have a question for you, Leo.
Yeah.
How you send a large size of documents at once? You
Okay.
cannot include in one email. So
Okay,
you
yeah.
need
When you face a limitation, many mail providers in like the Cox Communications, for example, would typically limit the size of an attachment to 25 megabytes. So you might only be able to send 3 or 4 small pictures, for example. If that becomes a problem, you need another type of a service. Many customers would get an account on something like Dropbox,
Dropbox.
or they would use one of these other cloud providers that give them access where they can put their files at the website on the cloud. So it's not on, there's a copy on your computer where it started. You copy it over to this other computer, and then you send somebody a link that gives them access to that file. So you could send them an email and say, the attachment is too big, please, go to this link, and then you can download it yourself. So for people who do architecture, for example, they often send data files that may be well over 100 megabytes in size when they have plans for a project. Okay, so when it's that large and you can't mail it, you need another type of service. So you can download things like Dropbox for free, and they also have paid plans if you really need much larger quantities of data.
But if a Dropbox, do you have to give people the username and the password so they can
It depends on
access
how
all the documents?
it depends on how you intend to use it. It has much flexibility in that you can either give somebody permission to a folder, or you can just send them a link to a specific file, and you may request that they have a username and password to gain access to it.
Technology edition of the Guy Dawson Show. Isn't that great? That was an
Yes.
excellent question that you asked.
Yeah, technology just changing so fast. One generation, next generation, just blink eyes, hard to catch up everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you look
you
at-
should be proud of yourself, Leo.
Yeah, if you look at where the internet has come, since 1992, 1993, back then I was with a company in Cambridge, Massachusetts called CentNet, the Cambridge Entrepreneurial Network. One of the founding members of that company had a company called the Internet Company, and they would provide a website for you for only $50,000.
I know when I was writing that
my.
article, I could not believe that.
Yeah, I mean, if you can imagine,
$50,000.
yeah, if you can imagine, the web at its birth is a very, very different place than we're at today.
It wasn't very functional for that $50,000, was it?
Prior to that point, what you had to do is you had older protocols like Gopher and WACE, and the WACE was a wide area information service. You could connect to it, and you could do things like log into a database. All right, so you could do some research, but it's nothing like the interactive, point and click, type functionality that we have today. Is much more advanced. Nowadays we have embedded video, audio. You can link to other sites. You can run an application. We have much higher security.
Yeah, Leo, we're heading to break, and I want you to cram your commercial in because we don't have long to go. Let the viewers see the commercial that you do in New Business Network.
Okay. Hi, my name is Leo. I'm with Leo Harten Computers. We specialize in on-site computer service and repair. We're always looking for customers who have problems with their computers, networks, and backups. For example, a good lead for me is if you see somebody running the QuickBooks program and they say, I started my QuickBooks, time to go get a cup of coffee. They have an old slow computer, that's a good lead for me. If you see somebody and their fist is stuck through the monitor, probably a Windows 8 user, also a great lead for me. Just remember, if your computer's got a cootie, I'll kick it in the booty.
That is a legendary networking commercial. Get in contact with Leo Harten, or get in contact, how do they get a hold of you?
You can give me a call at 702. The number is 408-4984. And the other tagline I use is, our cat's an expert on the computer because she's really quick on the mouse.
Get a hold of Leo to repair your computer. See you in a few minutes.